This MMA30 segment is powered by The Gun Store. Next time you're in Las Vegas, if you want to shoot a real machine gun, do it at The Gun Store at 2900 East Tropicana. All right, you're going to be down in Anaheim next week when the UFC debuts on Fox. This is exciting for all of us as mixed martial arts fans. All of us are praying for big numbers for the UFC on this first time out and that it's just a home run, even though this one doesn't really matter because the UFC doing this Fox card, it's really just like a show of good faith because this isn't even part of their contract that lasts for the next 7 years. You know, it's reportedly about $90 to $100 million a year that the UFC is getting from Fox in order to put all of this programming on their plate. But this one is just like a little, hey, here you go. Why not? Why not have a heavyweight title fight on the Fox network for free? It's going to be happening in 1 week from today, Saturday, November the 12th. The main event is going to be the only fight that we'll see on Fox. Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos. And how does the champ, Cain Velasquez, feel about being on Fox? Here's a listen.
I mean, there's always butterflies, yeah. I mean, right now it's not going to be more than usual, you know. When you kind of get in the grind of training and everything else, that kind of gets your mind ready for what's ahead. I mean, yeah, there are definitely butterflies there, but it makes me, like me, that makes me feel ready. That's natural for me to be a little nervous, but no more than usual.
So, you know, Cain Velasquez saying, I'm not that nervous. I'm not any more nervous than usual. I'm curious if you buy that because I talk to a lot of fighters about this sort of thing all the time. Does the stage matter or are you just walking towards the cage getting ready to fight? Do you think in your mind about the crowd being out there, being on national television? Do you factor in that you are representing the sport to many fans for the first time that are watching it for the first time that evening? Do you think that it's going to be just another fight to Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos, or do you think that their performance is going to be indicative of what is riding on this fight?
Yeah, you know, with Cain, I do believe him. You know, Cain is he's so stoic. Mm-hmm. You know, he doesn't strike me as a guy who rides high and low emotionally. Junior, on the other hand, does. And I think if you were going to give the edge to one of the other in terms of the pressure, mm-hmm. I think the edge goes to Cain. I think that, you know, he's been in a title fight before with Brock. He has that advantage. But I think the idea that it's on national television, that it's the first fight on Fox, et cetera, I just don't see that getting to Cain. He seems very even when it comes to his emotions. Junior's a much more emotional guy. I would say with him, it wouldn't shock me if he said it was getting to him a little bit.
All right, let's go to clip number 5 here. This is UFC President Dana White talking about why he chose Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos to really, like we mentioned, represent the sport to a lot of fans for the first time. Here's a listen.
We made this fight the first fight on free TV for a reason. These guys stylistically, both are aggressive. That's why we made this fight. This is going to be an awesome fight. It's going to be a great fight. You know, now, yeah, it's the first time in a long time that I've been worried about, you know, we got to pull off this production. I'm always a freak about making sure we give people the best product.
And I think that this fight will represent the sport very well. Do you think that there's any chance this could be a snoozer?
No, I don't. And I'm going to add something to what Dana said. I think stylistically, I think this is a super intriguing fight because of Cain's wrestling and Cain's cardio versus Junior striking. He's not a cardio machine. You know, who gets in early? I think there's questions about Cain's chin after the Congo fight. I think there's questions about his injury. Is he fully healed? He's been out of the cage for over a year. You know, you have all that type of stuff. So it's a fascinating fight to analyze. But I think there's a bigger reason that they may have chosen this fight, and that is it is the heavyweight title fight. And
sure.
In MMA, I don't think we put more credit necessarily to a heavyweight title fight versus a John Jones light heavyweight title fight or George St. Pierre welterweight title fight because, you know, we look at them as all great champions, and some guys like Anderson Silva, he's the best guy in the world. He's a middleweight.
But they're individuals.
Right.
So they have a title, but it's the fact that it's an Anderson Silva fight that you're tuning in.
Exactly. But when the idea of the heavyweight title, I mean, it's almost a cliche in the world. I mean, there's realtors who use advertising slogans. I'm the heavyweight champion of real estate. You know, I'm like, there's something about the heavyweight title. And if we're looking to move this more mainstream, if we're looking to get the casual viewer in or the person who's never seen it or the boxing fan, that resonates with them. You know, the guy who's the heavyweight champion is like the baddest dude on the planet.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to get to see that baddest dude on the planet take on a guy who's trying to dethrone him for that title. And I think it's going to resonate, and I think it's going to add to the ratings significantly, even if you didn't have any idea who these two guys were.
These two fighting on Fox, going to be a great moment for the sport like we talked about. It's 1 week from today on November the 12th. And here's UFC President Dana White talking about this event being a milestone. It's clip number 7, if you would. But this is Dana White saying, look, we've done a lot in the UFC's history, but this moment is special.
You know, there's been so many milestones that we've had over the last 10 years. I mean, people who've been following the sport since day one, I guarantee you nobody knows more than I do how hard it was to get this sport off the ground and to get people to take these athletes serious and the sport serious, and to finally be watching Fox NFL or, you know, any of these big, the World Series or whatever it might be, and to see, you know, spots and commercials about our fight airing on Fox. It's definitely one of the proudest moment I've ever had in being in this business. And also, you know, it's about time. We all know it. The people who've been in it for long enough know what incredible athletes these guys are, how hard they work, how smart they are, and the list goes on and on. And I think that's what makes me the happiest, is to finally see these guys on the same level as all the other athletes and respected the way that they should be.
And I agree with that. I mean, Dana White has really, in many ways, selflessly promoted these fighters and these athletes because of what amazing athletes they are. But part of it, I think, comes down to the fact that a lot of these guys are just genuine, good, hardworking dudes. And I cannot tell you enough, if you are just beginning to become a fan of the UFC or mixed martial arts in general, these individuals that make up this sport as the athletes are so down to earth, and they're so humbled by everything they have to go through to get to where they are now, where they're on a national platform and competing. It's not like the NFL. And I'm not saying that all guys that are a part of the NFL aren't good guys, because obviously we all know that's not the case. But when you're a fighter, you don't get coddled. You don't get love early on. No one looks at you and goes, oh, you're the future of mixed martial arts, so let's go ahead and have you basically ride out a comfortable college career in a great spot where you can shine, and then you get quickly picked up and you're a star by the time you're 20 years old. It doesn't work like that in MMA. If you're a star by the time you're 20 years old, it's because you've already been fighting professionally since you were 16. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's never an easy road to get to being a professional mixed martial artist that's making a lot of money and is widely respected. So Dana White saying, I'm just so happy because I get to see these guys finally get the recognition that they deserve, I think is a very selfless thing to say. And I love that Dana White is singling in on that.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with him more. When you look at an NFL football game, or you look at a college football game, or the World Series, and there's Junior and Cain being promoted.
Yep.
It just gives you goosebumps. Like, You know what? We don't have to justify this anymore. We don't have to try to explain, like, no, it's not what you think it is. And no, it's not two guys from a bar. Like, we're on the biggest platform with the biggest sports network in the world, promoting our best fighters.
Right. And no one's going to die in the cage tonight. I mean, obviously the Fox has done their due diligence. They understand that there's a lot of people that will accept this sport now. And it's not just on the viewer's part, but also the advertiser's part, because this is an environment that isn't dangerous for anyone. And I cannot wait for next Saturday night.
Me neither.
It's happening down in Anaheim, California. If you want to listen to Larry Pepe on Fox Sports Radio nationwide, you could do that. You can listen right here in Las Vegas or any market across the country. Thank you so much for your time today, my friend. Always a pleasure. Make sure you check us out at MMA30.com. Thanks again for joining us here on KXNT. This MMA30 segment is powered by The Gun Store. Next time you're in Las Vegas, if you want to shoot a real machine gun, do it at The Gun Store at 2900 East Tropicana.